Welcome back to another Fireside Ramble with me. If you can't hear that noise in the background, here it is. That's the roar of the fire. We have a couple of woodland creatures in the shelves here. Don't worry, they're not judging one little bit. They are actually judging quite a lot, actually. But we're going to be talking about so just some things that I usually don't get to in more structured videos. Just kind of some talking points I'd like to get to, starting with the Columbus Crew, who are possibly in the most exciting position that you could be in right now, at least in the major Ohio sports teams that I talk about, as they are currently in the playoffs for MLS. Their playoff run continues. I talked about the importance of them getting home field at the end of the regular season in MLS play, and that proved to be true as they managed to nab the 3 seed in the East, and in their series against Atlanta in round 1, they did win the 2 matches that were in Columbus, and they lost the one that was in Atlanta quite badly. So the good news is the Crew move on to the playoffs, and they have a chance to further their playoff run when they face Orlando City on Saturday. The bad news is the round 2 match is in Orlando, and it's just the one match. They're not going to get another chance if they lose this one, so it means they'll have to get a good result away from lower.com, which has been a struggle this season for Columbus. And when the club still had Lucas Zelarayan, I always said that they have a chance in every match if those 2 players are on their games. And Diego Rossi, who was brought in as kind of a replacement player for Zelarayan when he left, he hasn't exactly replaced that level of production, at least so far. I know he's adjusting to Nancy's system, but fans like us, we're going to be impatient when big names come in. We're going to want results now. However, he has shown, I think, a little bit more signs of life, a little bit more production recently, so maybe he's turned a corner in this system, and maybe it'll be lightning in a bottle for the rest of this playoff run. But that match against Orlando is on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. So if you usually don't tune into soccer, or you're thinking, this is an exciting team to watch for the Crew, they score a lot of goals, they also give up a decent amount of goals, so if you're looking for, if your usual reservation against soccer is like, well, it's just going to be a 0-0 score, whatever, the Columbus Crew team is not built like that. So definitely a good time to tune in. Hopefully the Buckeyes put Minnesota in a large deficit by the time the match starts on Saturday at 5:30. Hopefully that's not a game that's going to be out there at all. So if you want to tune in to some Columbus Crew soccer, Saturday at 5:30, a decent time to start. Now, speaking of the Buckeyes, Ohio State Hoops is underway right now in their early season. Mostly boring games against non-conference opponents. They did suffer a close, disappointing loss to Texas A&M earlier, but they have taken care of business against a team that they're supposed to beat. They beat Oakland in a bit of a close one, but they did take down Merrimack in a pretty convincing fashion in their last game. They do have a matchup against currently 22-ranked Alabama on November 24th, so that'll be interesting to see how the Buckeyes respond. And obviously, for Ohio State, you'd love to see them win games over the non-conference teams, but I do feel like I would like to judge this team based off of what they do with the Big Ten schedule once they get into the thick of that in the winter months, as that's been where this team has struggled the most in the past couple of years. Chris Holtmann really seeing his team go through some pretty bad droughts in terms of when they get into the slog of the Big Ten schedule and playing against some of those teams. You definitely don't want to be heading into the Big Ten tournament next year as the 13 seed yet again, where you're basically only way of getting into the big tournament is to win your conference tournament, not exactly where you want to be. If you're Ohio State, you definitely want to at least wrap up a spot in the dance before that conference tournament hits. Then as the Jackets continue their game tonight, it is the first intermission as of recording. Emil Bemstrom has cleared waivers, so yay for that, I suppose. He's going to Cleveland. Trey Fix-Wolansky has been called up in his absence, I should say. Trey Fix-Wolansky returning to the NHL lineup. He put up a ton of points with the Cleveland Monsters in his time. He leads the AHL in points per game, although I do think it is in a little bit of a different context, where in Cleveland he gets top line minutes. He's able to play on that top power play unit. When he in the lineup here in the NHL, he comes in on the third line. He did get some minutes on the second power play unit, but they're definitely less of a priority than the top power play unit as far as who gets the most ice time there. So while I do hope he's able to replicate the score that he's put up in the AHL with the Blue Jackets, obviously, I do have my doubts, especially after the time he got in the lineup last season with not a whole lot of production. But again, he hasn't got a whole lot of NHL games, so maybe this, with another year under his belt, another year to grow his development, maybe things will be different a little bit this time. A lot of people anticipating Kent Johnson coming back up in his return, but that did not happen. They've moved him over to center with Cleveland. Hopefully the Monsters giving him a lot of reps at that position, a lot of face-offs, a lot of minutes. The Jackets, they did draft him as someone they saw as a center of the future. That was Jarmo's vision, which Jarmo's vision has been pretty much as in doubt as it's ever been. And all that to say, it is not really a surprise that Emil Bemstrom was waived and he cleared. He had a bit of a good time on the Columbus roster, but overall, just not doing it. But that's going to do it for this Fireside Ramble. Once again, I'm going to close this video out by just, having you guys listen to the roar of the fire. Hopefully it might put you to sleep. Some good ASMR content as the video closes out. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.